Hi, my name is Samuel Gutierrez, and I'm here to talk about dogs. And while there's so many great things to talk about, there's one breed in particular that comes to my mind for having a bad reputation of being the most vicious dog breed in the world. Due to their fight history and tragic incidents, it's unfortunate that pit bulls have the stigma for being the most aggressive and evil dog in the world, and it's costing them many of their lives. So in this speech, I'm going to talk about my personal experiences and research that's going to help you see that pit bulls should not be demonized the way they should be. So first, I'm going to share with you my personal experiences I've had that's actually helped me, influence me to create this speech. Second, I'm going to share with you the misconceptions that have been going around that help shape the stereotype. And third, I'm going to show you some research that's going to help debunk these misconceptions. So first, my personal experiences. I've grown up around pit bulls my whole life, and I've seen the loving and the aggressive side of them. However, I've had numerous encounters with just my own pit bull that I'm going to share with you today that's going to show why I was influenced to create this speech. So, I own a pit bull named Chico. He's 3.5 years old, and he's very sweet and lovely. Very energetic, so I have to take him on a walk 3 times a day. And on this walk, we run into the same people every time. They wave hi, they know me, they know Chico, everything's cool. But anyone that's on the same sidewalk as us, coming directly at us, will either move out of the way completely or cross the street just to avoid us. And while this doesn't actually directly bother me, what does bother me is seeing other people share the same sidewalk with other dogs without taking the same precaution. I've seen people walk with right next to German Shepherds, Chihuahuas, Huskies, all that. They don't take that precaution. Oh, I'm going to cross the street, I want to avoid. No, but when they see Chico, who has the physique of like just an animal, like he's intimidating to say the least, but casting a judgment just on their physique and their looks already just goes to prove that the stereotype is real. In one instance, I even had an older man jump into the street into oncoming traffic because he didn't see Chico. And out of fear, he jumped out of the way and said, "No thanks, I don't want to get bit today." And that kind of upset me a little bit because that's unfair to say that to my dog. He probably would have just licked your ankle and left. Also, when Chico's had enough of humans, he likes to go to the dog park. And he loves the dog park. He likes to hang out with dogs. The moment I unclip his leash to the collar, he'll take off, he'll find a dog and play. But we've had some instances where an owner will see Chico playing with their dog. They'll go up, grab their dog, and shoo Chico away. Shh, go away. And because he hears like the loud sound, the loud tone of their voice, he runs away to me out of fear. He doesn't know what he did wrong. I have to go over there and explain to her, like, hey, I'm sorry that you were freaked out, but I could promise you my dog is very sweet. And once they get to know my dog, they say, you know what, I'm really sorry. I've had a lot of owners tell me, hey, I'm really sorry that I cast a judgment really quickly. Not in the specific words, but you know what I mean. They just know, like, hey, like, I messed up. I shouldn't have called it early a judgment on that. So those are just a few. Those are just a couple scenarios that I thought of and I remembered that helped me influence the speech. So now, when it comes to the stereotype, there's been a couple misconceptions that have been floating around in people's through like word of mouth, just different stories that help shape the stereotype. So the first one is actually a fact that pit bulls were used as fighting dogs, which is very Chico, which is very true. Back in the 1800s, that's when they originated. But people think because this aggressive behavior they have in the fighting ring is going to carry on through everyday life. But really, pit bulls are just the victims of bad ownership and heavy abuse. And most pit bulls actually end up being great pets once they're taken out of the abusive environment. Another misconception that kind of stirs fear into people is the fact that people think that pit bulls have a locking jaw, which is ridiculous, but it causes fear into people to avoid pit bulls at all costs because it could be deadly. Well, according to Dr. Larry Brisbane from the University of Georgia, conducted studies with the American Bully Foundation, they found that pit bulls actually have the same anatomy and they share the same DNA as every other breed out there. And they actually don't have any physical mechanisms to enable them to lock their jaws, which goes to debunk that wherever this locking jaw misconception came from, it's untrue. And also, this fear that we're talking about, author Bronwyn Dickey's book, Pitbull, The Battle Over an American Icon, She states that the oldest and strongest emotion is fear, and the oldest, strong, and kind of fear is fear of the unknown. She believes that people are so scared of pitbulls because they have no idea. They never encountered a pitbull. They just hear the stories, they read the stories, they see the videos, and they rather cast a judgment like that rather than having a first-hand experience, which means they have nothing to compare their opinions to. So things like that help stir fear into people to think, oh my god, I need to avoid a pitbull at all costs, which is bogus, totally bogus. And now that we talked about some misconceptions that help shape the stereotype, let's talk about the research. Let's talk about how this research is going to help the most feared dog actually seem like the most understood dog. So according to pitbullinfo.org, they studied over 20 years of dog bite related incidences along with the CDC, and they found that majority, 72% of those accidents were actually attributed to non-breed pit bulls. So a lot of times researchers like to look at pit bulls directly, and even though pit bulls are a wide range of breeds, they know that they can overlook other breeds because they don't think they like to bite people. But actually, in this study specifically, Malamute scored first, Chow Chow scored second, and St. Bernard scored third. Pit bulls didn't even make the top 5 in this study. And also, researchers like to take temperament tests, which kind of shows like where the dog is level-wise with the aggression. And according to American Temperament Test Society, they conducted studies on the general dog population, including pit bulls, and they found that pit bulls actually pass with a rating of 82% or better than 77% of the general dog population, which is pretty good. These tests consist of putting an animal in an unexpected situation, like meeting a stranger or meeting a random animal. So in this case, they had a pit bull in a room by itself, kind of wandering around. They presented a little duckling to it, and the pit bull, out of excitement, went up to it and didn't show any signs of unprovoked aggression or panic, which means the pit bull passed the test. So let's go ahead and go through what I said. All in all, in conclusion, we talked about how there's a stereotype out there that pit bulls are the most aggressive dog breed in the world. And I told you things that'll debunk it. I told you how the personal experiences I had helped me influence this speech. I talked about how there's misconceptions out there that are stirring fear into people's minds, trying to avoid pit bulls at all costs. And we also talked about how research debunked these stereotypes. The truth is, all dogs are individuals, and they shouldn't be judged from their past or by their looks. According to the Save a Bull Foundation, 1.2 million dogs are euthanized every year, and 40% are pit bulls. 75% of municipal shelters euthanize pit bulls right away. So it breaks my heart that these dogs fall victim under a stereotype that's not even true, and people just pass around like it's whatever. I made this speech today to help change your perspective on pit bulls and hopefully save more of their lives. Thank you for listening.